So now that he won the fight, and I guess he's not getting too much credit like everybody should give him, because he's the because everybody's seeing Joshua's downfall, which and everybody's just focusing on that. But what do you think? What is one of the best things that Ruiz did going into the fight?
I think the best thing that he did is, I mean, just continuing to put pressure and continue to go forward. But at the same time, he was being defensive, head movement. I mean, he was able to block a lot of punches, deflect them off the gloves. I mean, he did really well. I like the way he looked. He looked strong. His combinations, that's something that a lot of people underestimated, you know, throughout his career, is how fast his hands are, man. Especially at that level.
Really
heavyweight.
fast.
Yes, man.
For a heavyweight.
You look at Klitschko, you look at Joshua, they're 1-2 combos. This guy's throwing 4 or 5 punches at a time, and he's landing, he's connecting, you know? He looked really impressive. I mean, I jumped with joy when I heard the
news. When I was watching it on my iPad, a lot of people really didn't. There was a few people that messaged me after the fight, like, man, what happened? I was like, man, if you missed out on this fight, like, seeing it on the highlights is not the same thing seeing it live. Because I was sitting down, my nephews were watching TV, and I had my iPad, and I turned it on. I was watching the fight, and I was like, when he knocked out Ruiz, I was like, man, hopefully it's not an early night.
The commentator said it too. They were like, dude, Joshua is a really calm finisher. So, you know?
But now let's go back to Joshua, because it's his loss. And they're talking more about his loss than Andy Ruiz's win. Now, was it me? Now, there's a lot of speculation. There's a talk now that I've seen on Twitter that going into this fight, right before the match, he had a panic attack. Right before he got to this match, he already had a concussion, and he was injured through sparring. His dad wanted to take him out the fight, and Eddie Hearn said, no, you can't get out this fight. At the end of the fight, on the video, I think I'll send it to you on Twitter, there's when Joshua's talking to his dad, and his dad is pointing to Eddie Hearn like it's his fault, and Joshua's like, no, it was me, I wanted to fight. Was it me, or did you see that Joshua did not appear like he was mentally in this fight? Because I was talking to Hector, and he was on the ring just having his hands on, like right before the match started, he had his hands on like just relaxing the ring, like he wasn't ready. Like, was it me or?
I don't know. To me, it just seemed that, I don't know, for some reason. I know they're the heavyweight fighters and they fight a little slow, but he just looked tired, you know, like either that happened or just from the initial blow that caused the first knockdown, which was right behind the ear. I don't think his legs ever got, you know, back underneath him after that shot. That was a huge shot, and I mean that's a bad point to take a shot, you know, and to get back down from that, you know, you need some time to recover, and unfortunately, I mean he wasn't able to recover. I mean his legs were never back underneath him. I mean Ruiz kept putting that pressure. I mean, congratulations to him, man. You know, first ever, you know, Mexican heavyweight champion.
Do you think Joshua's stock with the fight against Wilder or Fury will go down? Like, would you look forward to seeing that now?
I mean, that's the thing that hurt. This loss hurt that potential dream match is what would happen. I mean, I definitely agree with the people that are saying that the money they could have made off of that fight is no longer going to be there on the table. I don't think it's going to be there.
I think his redemption fight would be do the rematch clause, which might take in place. If he wins, then that stock for the Wilder fight will go back up again, or against Fury.
I don't think it'll go back up.
You don't think so? You don't think so?
Not to the same level. I think right now that's the only fight that's there for Joshua, is to get his rematch on that fight and prove himself again. You know, prove himself, you know, back on U.S. soil that he can fight. You know, that it wasn't a fluke for Ruiz. You know, that'd be what he has to do in order to prove himself. But at the same time, right now, the options for Deontay Wilder now expanded. Now you got the Gypsy King, you know, Tyson Fury. You got Andy Ruiz, who has the belt, and then you have his other fight with Luis Ortiz. You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a crazy night. Not a lot of things. Now that the whole perspective has changed. Who's gonna fight who's gonna have the better? I guess it's gonna be the cash cow. What do you think? Ideally, let's just say Andy Ruiz does fight Joshua. Do you think he can beat him again?
I think he can beat him again. He can beat him again. Just now that he's already been in that ring and he's going to be comfortable and confident, I think that's all it's going to really take. I mean, he's going to be able to bring back another really good fight. And I hope he's able to do the same thing he did that, you know, Saturday night. I mean, shout out to him, man. You know, everybody's talking about, you know, the Fat Boy won, Snickers, this, you know, all this stuff, man. You know, I'll probably swim in
we were talking about that on Twitter. But here's one of the things, like, as me, when I was getting back into amateur right out of college, and I was getting into fights, one of the things my coach always told me is the physique might scare you, but that doesn't really matter. Like, sometimes that doesn't matter, like, because you might see some guys build up, like Timothy Bradley, who fought Pacquiao. His physique was good, horrible chin. It could not even last. Like he would get knocked out, but he had heart, he had speed,
well,
and
definitely. I mean, I was one of those people. You know what I mean? I mean, I grew up a chubby kid. You know, most of my amateur career, I was always the kid that looked like out of shape. Man, put me in the gym with anybody else, and I can outrun everybody. I can outlift anybody. I can do more push-ups than anybody. You know, I was always real competitive, even though my body didn't show it. I always wanted to make sure I was the best at whatever I did, whether it be running, pushing, lifting, whatever it was. I wanted to be the best. And I mean, this sport isn't bodybuilding. This sport is boxing.
Yeah, exactly. So again, going back to Andy Ruiz, I don't know if you knew. I did not know this very much, but about a year ago, before this match came up, he wasn't really fighting consistently. He was building houses. He was in construction, so he had like a second job, kind of like what you have. So I guess that's a certain point where you can relate, like being a professional fighter and also having your second job, because there's a lot of fighters that have to go through that. How do you think that triumph felt? Does that also, like, you can relate, like you relating to that? Does that also give you an extra push now? Because before this fight, before anything, I'm sure for that happening, you're like, man, if he can do it, I can do it.
Most definitely. I mean, that was always the goal, regardless of him getting the victory or not. I mean, our goal was always to go in there, you know, get comfortable enough in this sport to where we can finally let go of our full-time jobs and just pursue this as a whole entire career. You know, we have a whole team dedicated to it. It's not just myself. You know, we got Hector. He's in the sport with it. My dad is in the sport. My mom is in it just as much as I am. My little brother is in it, you know, just as much as I am. And that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to chase the sport so far that they don't even have to worry about it either, because they're going to be part of my team. You know what I mean? I don't want to be selfish and have them have to do their own thing, because, you know, I just wanted to do it by myself. You know, it's not like that. This is my team, and this is the people I want to bring up with me. But I mean, that win, it did motivate me, man. I mean, having a full-time job kind of let me see where I don't want to stay. You know what I mean? Like it allows me to see where I don't want to be for the rest of my life, where I want to get out of. You know what I mean? I have a good job. I'm not going to say it's the hardest of conditions, because I've had worse. But at the same time, it's not something I want to see myself in for a long time.
Do you think now that La Raza is going to be more behind him?
Yeah, they better be, man. The Raza better stick with him, man. Don't count him out. Everybody this and that, man.
And I think a lot of Raza that relates with him, like, is in the body physique. Like, hell yeah, like I got that body too. It was so many memes.
Yeah, about should I go to the gym or should I just go eat tacos? You know?
Man, you know,
if you eat tacos, you better learn to
you're probably doing something right. But you know, I got a lot of hate on Twitter, and it was not my I guess my direction to go about it, because I kept on tweeting about the fight, and when he was getting an interview, I said speak Spanish, and somebody saw it. I don't know if you saw it, and somebody got all like, oh, don't be that guy, or don't be. And I got a lot of people, just a lot of Twitter finger people that, you know, have no trigger fingers, and they were just be like, oh, you be that guy.